With me is Stephen Lennon, also known as Tommy Robinson, who's the leader of the English Defence League, and Zafar, who's founding chair of Luton Council of Faiths and a practising Muslim. The phone lines are going absolutely berserk, and if you'd like to have your say on this, if you live in Luton or around Luton, how do you feel? Are you scared about what's planned for tomorrow? Are you going to stay well away from the town? 08459 455 555. Keep your calls coming in. It's the subject of this morning's JVS show.
Getting beds, hearts and bucks talking.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. With the headlines, I'm Sam Rigby. The leader of the English Defence League insists Luton residents and shoppers have nothing to fear during tomorrow's protest in the town. Stephen Lennon has told this programme his group has a right to protest. Lennon also revealed he's under 24-hour police protection after threats were made to his life this week. As many as 1,800 police officers will be on the ground tomorrow to keep supporters of the EDL and counter-demonstrators unite against fascism apart from each other. Thousands of protesters are joining people who camped out overnight in Cairo's Tahrir Square for an 11th day of demonstrations against President Hosni Mubarak. The United States is understood to be discussing a range of options with Egyptian officials, including Mr Mubarak being replaced immediately by a transitional government. The woman in charge of scrapping free parking in Milton Keynes is defending the decision. Vanessa McPake, the Lib Dem councillor in charge of transport, says they decided 2 years ago to simplify parking arrangements. She also admits the new charges will generate revenue for the council and says many people are grateful. Demonstrations against a planned incinerator are taking place in Bedfordshire this morning. The Rookery Pit site, which is near to Stewartby, will be visited by the Infrastructure Planning Commission, and protesters plan to show their objections this morning. Sport, and Luton Town host Gloucester tonight in the FA Trophy in a game being played on a Friday night due to tomorrow's protests in Luton Town. Well, the weather for beds, hearts and bucks are rather cloudy and breezy day, although it should stay mostly dry today. Maximum temperatures will reach very warm 11 Celsius or 52 Fahrenheit. BBC Three Counties Radio, first for news.
On FM, AM and online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes, good morning. It's the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. This morning on the phone-in, I'm asking, are you scared about what's planned in Luton tomorrow? Tomorrow, thousands of protesters are set to gather in Luton. They're from the English Defence League, who say they're demonstrating against militant Islam, and Unite Against Fascism, who are demonstrating against the EDL, who they believe are a racist organisation. This morning, Chief Superintendent Mike Colborne of Bedfordshire Police has confirmed on breakfast that the cost of policing is likely to be in excess of £800,000. Businesses are being urged to take extra precautions. A council leaflet being given to shopkeepers and pub landlords urges them to review their security, CCTV capability and insurance. Well, I'd like to hear from you. Are you scared about what's planned in Luton tomorrow? In the studio with me is Stephen Lennon, who's also known as Tommy Robinson. He's the leader of the English Defence League that formed 2 years ago following disruption to Anglian Regiment March through Luton. That was disrupted by a small group of Muslim men protesting against it, and Zafar Khan, who's the founding chair of Luton Council of Faiths and a practising Muslim. Now, Zafar, you believe that Stephen this morning, you believe that he is scaring people.
Of course. The whole premise of this march and the politics and the ideas that are being articulated are very scary. Luton people from all faiths, all communities, all cultures are scared about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay, well, if you had dealt with militant Islam within your community, we wouldn't be here, would we? The English Defence League would never have formed. These members, I drove through Bury Park this Friday and I saw the same people who protest against our troops doing their same propaganda.
Yeah, but it was a very small number.
I've seen the
footage. It was a tiny number.
Excuse me, the only small numbers I need to know is that 4 killed 52 and injured 700. 19 killed 3,500. They don't need big numbers to be militant, mate.
But listen. If if you're tarring the whole of the Muslim community,
why are you saying I'm tarring the whole of the Muslim community?
I want to come in there.
Aisha, hang on one second, please.
Aisha couldn't answer my question.
Aisha said to you earlier that you were being aggressive, and I don't think you can hear. You won't listen to the question, okay? You may not be raising your voice, but you're not listening to the question. The question I'm asking you is, why would you give the impression that there are loads and loads of militant Muslims, when actually the number that were protesting on that particular day...
No,
you're doing it again!
Okay, the number that protested that day...
Hang on, Zafar.
300 were stopped coming to Luton that day. The number that protested that day, in the space where they abused the troops, I accept, was 15 or 20. But when they went down outside Don Miller's, there was 80 to 100. Now, they're militant Muslims, but also, I'm talking of Islamism, and as I'm going to say again, which no one wants to talk about this issue, I'm talking about Sharia law, which I'm scared of.
Right, OK. You say you're not a racist organisation. On Breakfast this morning with Simon and Lorna, they spoke to Martin Smith from Unite Against Fascism. Just have a little listen. Listen to what he claims.
They say they're just against militant Islam, except in the march in Preston, which is on YouTube. You can watch it yourself. They shout, "Burn down the mosque." Now, that's not against any militant action. That's just against a mosque. It'd be like saying burn down a church. When they organise their pickets, they organise pickets in shops that sell halal meat. That's not picking on militant Islam. That's picking on just every Muslim they can get their hands on.
I'll accept, we are against halal meat fundamentally because we have animal rights in this country and halal meat is slaughtered. And what I'm especially against is when we have no choice, just like in Nando's in Luton Town Centre, just like in Subway, just like in KFC, where they're halal only. Give us a choice. Give us a choice.
Zafar, would you like to respond to that?
I don't want to respond to such frivolity. What I do want to actually say...
What's frivolity mean?
What I do want to say is that there are about 30,000 Muslims in Luton. And we keep hearing that there is militant Islam and Muslims are militant in Luton.
Now, if there are...
Stephen, just shush for a minute.
If there are 1 dozen or 2 dozen or even 100 extremist-minded people amongst the Muslim community, of course we as local residents are worried about that. But the way this EDL is going about stigmatizing and demonizing the whole Muslim community and whole faith of Islam is despicable. This is not how you engage in dialogue. We, over the years, have worked ceaselessly to build bridges in Luton on the platform of the faiths communities. And we have someone like EDL or people are similar from even the Muslim community who create problems, and we have to go back to the drawing board. Look, Luton is 200,000 people, and we are trying to become one family living in a community such as Luton. It's a diverse community. It's a community with different cultures, different faiths, and we're trying our very best to come to terms with our reality.
Zafar, let Stephen respond to that.
Okay, if I just explain, even if it is 100, which is not, but even if it was 100 militant Muslims, if you just...
It's about 20, but I said 100 because you talked about 100.
Can I talk, please? And if we reverse the roles, and we make like 170,000 people in Luton Muslim and 30,000 of them white, and in that little white community that is all impacting that one area, we put 100 Nazis on the street 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, promoting hatred against everyone that's non-white, and we let them have stalls in our community week in, week out. We let them hand out leaflets against the local Muslim community, and then sooner or later what you will see coming out of that little compact area is explosions coming out of... Let me finish what I'm saying. Explosions, sooner or later that will creep into our community. It will affect the youth, which is doing in your youth, and they will be hostile. And if you look at this week's Luton on Sunday newspaper, there is an RAF war veteran who is walking down the street when 3 cars of Muslims pull up and they beat him with sticks and bats. And if you look at the weeks before that, so let me just finish. If you look at the Luton News the week before that, there's a 15-year-old boy walking along Wardown Park where his head jumped all over by Muslim gangs. Now, these are in our papers. Okay. I haven't read any stories in our local papers the other way around. So what I'm saying,
we have laws in this country. We have the police force. Sure. Who have a responsibility to deal with things like that.
Listen, I want to bring...
Not EDL to have thousands of people scaring Luton residents.
This is a phone-in. This is not the Zafar and Stephen show, so let's bring people in who want to respond, but I'm going to need you to both listen to what they have to say and respond accordingly. Aisha is in Luton. Hi, Aisha.
Hi.
Hello, what would you like to say? You're through to myself and Stephen, who's also known as Tommy, and Zafar.
Yeah, what it is what concerns me is EDL say that they're protesting against militant Islam and local issues as well. But militant Islam, like you've mentioned on your show, is a minority group of people. They do not represent the Muslim community as a whole. The Muslim community do reject them.
Yeah.
So when they're going to all these towns and saying that they're against militant Islam, they're just fueling it. They're just fueling it. They're just fueling it. You can't possibly say that all Muslims are literally militant Islam.
I haven't said that once. I haven't said that once.
That's if you look at all the stuff on YouTube and in the way that you're targeting.
Aisha, can I ask you why every single week in your community are Saif al-Islam and his band of merry men allowed to have stalls and hand out leaflets like they still are now? Yeah. Now let's change it.
Well, actually, community leaders have spoken out before.
I know that. No, I'm not saying I'm not saying they haven't spoken out. I know they're banned from your mosque. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, if I went into your community and with 4 or 5 of my friends and I set up a stall and started handing out English Defence League leaflets, what will happen?
Well, obviously there'll be tension.
Yeah, there'll be tension. I'll get battered. So why don't they get battered?
And that's the thing, though. And then there's another concept here as well.
So they don't there's no tension. Okay, Karen. Sorry. There's
tension with Saif al-Islam and his merry men.
They're still there.
There is tension.
Hang on one second.
There is tension. Those people on occasions have shouted at me because
I know they have.
So this proves the point. This proves the point that you are wrong about the attitude of the vast majority of Muslim community about these 12 people or 20 people.
Deal with them.
Saif al-Islam and his...
Yes, but how do you propose that
the same way they deal with me?
How should Zafar deal with them?
No, Zafar, I know that they've attacked your multi-faith march. I know they have. I know they've attacked that Lib Dem councillor who, can I just say, that Muslim Lib Dem councillor, great man, when I hear him talk. He is a great representative, and they're the people you need speaking out. And it's all very well... People like yourself, I don't expect yourself to confront him. I don't expect businessmen...
No, I have confronted those people.
No, I do mean confronted.
I have confronted those people.
What I'm saying is, why?
I have confronted those people.
I keep hearing that the Muslim community will not take the law into their own hands, but they are willing to with...
This is what you have taken law into your hand. I have confronted those people.
Hang on.
I have children here. I have a grandson.
Hang on.
What you are doing, I'm scared for my 6-month-old grandson.
Okay, well, you're scared. I'm sorry, but your 6-month-old grandson is not guarded by armed police like my children are, so don't tell me about being scared, Zafar.
You see, hang on a minute. The whole point
You are the leader of a movement which is...
Sorry. The whole point of this... The whole point of this seems to me that you are offended, Stephen, by the fact that there are a very small number of Muslims in Luton.
And I'm offended by Sharia law.
Hang on. There are a small number of militant Muslims in Luton who are outspoken and are offensive to you and to other Muslims.
They're more than outspoken and offensive. They're terrorists.
Now that's fine.
Maybe they are. It's the police who should deal with that.
Yes.
If there are terrorists, the police should deal with that.
The problem that we have is that if you then bring 4,000 of your supporters to Luton tomorrow, Stephen...
Let's hope Saif al-Islam's going to get some stick from his community now then.
Is that the purpose then?
No, the purpose
you hope he's going to get...